Happy 4th of July! If you are not listening to Lana Del Rey today, what are you doing? But that is not the point of this video. We're going to do the June recap. We're going to talk about everything that I watched and read in June and hopefully get a kind of a feel for how we're feeling going into July. So I'm going to jump right into it. First things first, Flower. I found this movie off of Hulu. Flower is a 2017 dark comedy about a teenage girl who essentially blackmails men for money. Icon. But then things get weird when she decides to help her new stepbrother take revenge on an old teacher. This is a movie that honestly I thought I would like and ended up kind of not liking, which is kind of shocking because I have a tendency to like just about anything. It has the look of like a typical fun indie movie, which I like, but I just really didn't connect with it. And I hated the ending. I'm so sorry. I hated it. It had funny moments, but I did not enjoy the stepbrother dynamic. It did not feel needed. And I felt like maybe it was just put in to make the movie like weird, like forced strangeness, if that makes sense. And listen, it's not about like a stepbrother dynamic because hear me out. One of my favorite movies of all time is The Dreamers, and that movie is nasty. So but that felt different. This was like, we're just trying to make it like quirky and weird. And it honestly was kind of such a bummer to me too, because I really like the people in the cast. You had like Adam Scott, Catherine Hahn. These are people that I like, but I just didn't like this movie. Like, I don't know. It just sat with me weird. And I think the weirdest thing about it was that I saw the like poster for it and I was like, oh my God, this is a movie that is so targeted towards me. And then I didn't like it. Okay, next, Masters of the Universe. So this movie was a bit of a wild card for me. I don't really watch movies like it, but for some reason I saw a trailer and it just looked fun, and I do like He-Man. When I went to the theater, I went with some friends and they asked me if it was like a Marvel movie, and I told them, I hope not. I have nothing against Marvel movies, by the way. I just personally don't gravitate towards them. And the thing I liked about this movie is that it kind of looked like it would be that, but it ended up being really fun and not taking itself too seriously. And that is what I appreciated about it. Plus, I don't really like superheroes, and I feel like He-Man and She-Ra are more like fantasy, but that could just be me. But I had a really fun time watching it, and I know a lot of people were really hating on Jared Leto's Skeletor, but honestly, I like how he did it. I mainly liked how they made him like super cheesy and corny, and also my friends and I agreed that Skeletor was kind of giving gay icon in this movie. Like, he was cunty. I also learned through this experience that out of all of my friends, no one besides myself really knew anything about He-Man, so that was strange to me because, like, to be fair, I do like stuff that's older, so I assume that's why. But I was a little confused because I was under the impression that He-Man was like really popular. To be fair though, I did go with like 3 other people, so that's not exactly like a wide berth of people to choose from or to pull from, but still, I was like, wait, shouldn't more people know about this? Like, I felt like the odd one out. All right, next, Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens. This was the time that I accidentally watched porn and reviewed it all for you. So, this was Russ Meyer's last film. Y'alls will know Russ Meyer from Faster Pussycat, Kill Kill, Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, all that kind of stuff. He does like the sexploitation films, and this was his last movie. And he definitely decided to make it memorable. I didn't realize going into this movie that I would essentially be watching a softcore porno, but honestly, I am not mad about it. I actually initially added it to the list. Oh God, excuse me. I actually initially added it to the list because burlesque dancer Kitten Natividad, I don't know how you say it, was in it, and that was my only real reason for watching. I think she's great. I think though that I have really started to gain an appreciation for the sexploitation film genre. Like, hear me out. They're fun. They're goofy, they're low stakes, and honestly, a lot of these movies are very aesthetically pleasing, and that's usually how I find out about them, because they always have a couple of like really beautiful shots that end up on someone's Pinterest board somewhere, and then I come across it and I go, whoa, I gotta watch that. So that's pretty much how this like works for me. And now that I've kind of started this pipeline, I think I am going to continue to talk about the Russ Meyer films. I'm excited to talk about some of the older ones, specifically Faster Pussycat Kill Kill. That one is one that comes up a lot in conversation. So look out for that when that eventually makes its way. Now, we're going to talk about a book, The Night and the Moth. Oh my god, I cannot get enough of this book. I was obsessed. It was keeping me up at night. I was like, oh, what happens next? I absolutely adored this book. I think this book has definitely gotten me sucked into the romantasy genre, and I am better off for it. Like, listen, I did read ACOTAR. I read the whole Court of Thorns and Roses thing. I got into it, but also it was like, I think now that like so many people have talked about it, like the criticisms of that series get stuck in my head. I do think it's fun, and I'm going to read the others when they come out, but it's a thing where I'm like, okay, I got to find something else. I can't just read Sarah J. Maas, you know? No offense, Miss Maas. Now, back to The Night and the Moth. The Night and the Moth follows the story of Six, who is a diviner who essentially has to drown in a magical spring over and over again to get messages from these beings called omens, who are basically like gods in this world. And when her sister diviners go missing, she has to team up with this knight named Roderick to find them. And I said this before, but being a diviner honestly sounds like it sucks. Like, you mean to tell me y'all's got to keep dipping me underwater over and over again? And I've said this before, a Ouija board, a magic 8-ball, anything other than that, flip a coin. I think we could have had something better to figure out like how to predict the future rather than just like drowning people, but whatever, that's their magical world, not mine. Anyway, I really did love this book because of just how magical it all felt. All the way down to the gargoyles. The gargoyle that accompanies Six is probably my favorite character. I just think he's so sweet. And his story is so sad. And I just love him. He probably made me feel the most emotion out of all the characters. I also really loved the dynamic between Roderick and Six. And while I did enjoy the spicy element, which was kind of different, because like I said, I don't normally read that kind of stuff, I liked the romantic, emotional stuff more. I think the thing that really got to me about this book was this message that you don't have to be useful to be deserving of love. That really got to my heart, and honestly, the ending was crazy. And now I definitely need book 2, which comes out in September, I think, so I am super excited about it. Now, we're talking about, you ready for this? Vamp from 1986. This movie was so cool. This was a really fun 80s vampire movie that had Grace Jones in it as a vampire who runs a vampire strip club. And she does this dance covered head to toe in body paint. And it is one of the most beautiful, most haunting, most erotic things I've ever seen. I don't know what happened, but I saw Grace Jones and I was like, I did that for like the entire sequence. Some things that really stuck out to me about this movie. The movie, one of the things I really liked was the lighting, okay? This whole movie has this really great, like, neon green and pink lighting. It makes everything feel spooky and mystical. This movie also has a lot of cool small details. One thing that sticks out to me is there's a scene in the vampire dressing room where 2 vampires are doing each other's makeup because vampires can't see each other in a mirror. So I thought that was cute. I thought that was a little like, oh, huh. This movie also had really cool practical effects. When you see the vampires like vamping out, you get all the teeth and the gruesomeness. It's really cool. It's actually horrific, but it's also so fun. I also heard, and I fundamentally believe, that this movie inspired From Dusk Till Dawn, but it's like its more fun, campier older sister. So you could, if you really like were having like a theme night with your friends, maybe the theme is vampire strippers, and you start with Vamp and then you go from Dusk Till Dawn. The possibilities are endless. Order yourself pizza with garlic. You don't want the vampires to get you. Okay, now we're going to talk about something magical again. I've been in this really magical space, and I would like to stay there. I'm loving all the magic that I've been reading and experiencing on my screen. Donkey Skin. This was the most magical movie. This was a 1970 French movie based off of a 1695 fairy tale about a princess who escapes her father who wants to marry her, by using the skin of a donkey as a disguise. That's also kind of gross. There's some grossness in this. Anyway, this movie's gorgeous. It is so surreal, and now I'm on the hunt to find more movies like it. So if you know any, you are legally obligated to let me know, or my lawyer will be after you. I really loved the sets and the costumes. I saw online that they filmed this movie in like multiple chateaus across France, and the costumes are like literal works of art. Everything is big and sparkly and exaggerated, and the whole movie feels like a dream that I want to live in forever. Like, I want to stay there. Like, I truly wish I could live in this magical world because I have never seen anything like it. So let me in. If I find a magical portal and y'all don't see any more videos, you know what happened. I will figure out how to get videos from the other side of the portal, but different time and place. Okay, now, get 20% off your first demon this Halloween. So this was a book where the author actually reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to read his book. And that was really cool. That has never happened to me before. So that was really exciting. That was just like a, ooh. Now, the book itself is something that I honestly probably wouldn't have reached for of my own accord. It's a horror comedy, and that's not typically my thing. But I found myself pleasantly surprised. The story's about a corporation called Corpse Corps that has a bunch of different psychos and monsters that someone can choose from to murder anybody in their lives who like deserve to get got. So we follow Helen, who she has an abusive husband and he's gotta go. But this book also had a bunch of different interconnected storylines that about the different murderers and different backstories. So it all connects into like one big story. And honestly, I found the book fun. It was easy to read, and I liked all the classic like Halloween monsters and tropes on top of the human monsters that were in the book. So it was a fun read. Now, the honorable rewatchables. There was only one this month. I don't know what happened, y'all. Well, okay, that's not exactly true. I did rewatch Twin Peaks, but I have talked about Twin Peaks so much that I don't think I can include it in the honorable rewatchables anymore, just because we will be saying the same things over and over again. Just know that at any point in time, I am probably watching Twin Peaks as well as the X-Files. If I'm doing something, that is going on in the background. It's my comfort. So the only actual like honorable rewatchable this month was Marie Antoinette, the Sofia Coppola one. I rewatched this movie recently, mainly for the vibes. I was feeling a certain type of way. I love this movie. I love Sofia Coppola. And this is another movie that visually is just one of the most incredible. I know that a lot of historical enjoyers have beef with this movie. And you know what? That's between you and God. Because listen, I can see why, but I also think it really depends on how you look at this movie. When I first watched this movie and made a video about it a while back, it was like a year ago, I was of the mindset that this is about a girl and the experience and performance that comes with being a woman. And we get to see that played out through the story of one of the most famous women of all time. And I still feel that way. Like, it's not really supposed to be a historically accurate look at the life of Marie Antoinette. It's almost like using her story as a means to show what is a very universal experience for women. I think about this so much when she first arrived at Versailles and we see this whole crowd of people gathered around to see the new Dauphine, and they're judging her so hard. They're trying to size her up and see if she's worthy, and she hasn't even taken a step foot inside the walls yet to see if she even likes it. Overall, I just really love this movie, and I'm glad I gave it a rewatch. So yeah, that's the end of it. That's everything that I consumed in June for my brain. As far as July goes, I'll give you guys a little bit of a heads up. As far as July goes, I did watch a 1970s horror movie that was very strange. I am looking forward to talking about it because there's a lot of production elements to it that I'm like, what was going on here? Also, I did pick up another gothic pulp novel. There will be a video about that coming out soon. And I wasn't going to talk about this, but I think I'm going to now. I made the decision to try and get into the dark romance genre. So I decided to read Haunting Adeline. I am like halfway through it right now. And I have so many thoughts about that book. That book is crazy. Like, I'm probably still going to read more, and I'm probably going to read the sequel. But like, I don't think, I'm a big softie. I got a sensitive heart. And when he starts pulling out guns and doing all this crazy stuff, I'm like, ooh, I'm scared. So yeah, but other than that, that was June. It's now July. Happy 4th of July. Go get like a vanilla ice cream. Song recommendations: American by Lana Del Rey, National Anthem by Lana Del Rey. Those are kind of like the basic ones, but also the entire Blue Bannisters album, mainly because I think it does capture that like homeliness of America in it. So yeah, bye.